Hey everybody, Happy New Year. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thanks for dropping by. I'm gonna make an assumption that you probably got a Cricut machine for Christmas and you're looking for something to do with it. Well, this project is perfect for that. This is a DIY calendar. It's very easy to make. You're gonna learn a couple of things with it. You're gonna learn how to do print then cut. You're going to learn how to use a scoring tool if you have a machine that can use the scoring tool. So that would be the Maker and the Explorer. But this is a Cricut Joy Xtra friendly project. So if you got a Cricut Joy Xtra, you will still be able to make the calendar without the scoring tool, and I'll show you how. You're going to learn how to use different materials. So we're going to play around with pattern paper, cardstock, and chipboard, and that's going to be the base of the calendar. What we're looking at now is the file in Cricut Design Space. I'll go over the different parts of this file with you. So the first thing we have here on the left-hand side is the base and base cover. The base will be what holds up the calendar. You can use chipboard, as I stated, or heavy cardstock. The other thing you can do is use something called Cricut Craft Board. It's kind of in between cardstock and chipboard, and it's pretty sturdy, so it should be able to work with your calendar. Then you have a base cover. So we're going to cover our base with pattern paper. You're going to need 2 pieces of that because we're going to cover the front and the back of the chipboard base. Then we have mat or background for the calendars. Now the calendars are actual JPEG files. I'm going to zoom in on them so you can see them. These will be your print then cut pieces. Now when you get the file for the calendar, you will get a link to this particular file within Cricut Design Space. It is not going to include the print then cut pieces. You'll have to upload that to directly yourself, but the link to this Cricut Design Space file will be in the download that's going to be available at thescrapbookschool.com. So each of these calendar months are JPEG files. You will download the file from thescrapbookschool.com. It'll be a zip format. You will unzip the file, and then you will individually upload each of these different months up into the Cricut Design Space template. So you're going to click upload. You will do upload image. You'll select the month. It will come into Design Space like this. You'll click continue and you'll get this screen here. There's nothing you need to do here because there is no background that you need to remove. So you would do apply and continue. And it says convert upload to. So you're going to choose flat graphic because everything is already compressed for you. All you have to do is upload it. So then you hit continue. And then you just pick where you want to save it. So if you have any collections or folders that you save things in, you can do that here. You can rename the image if you need to, and then hit upload. Now, once it uploads, I'm going to zoom out so you can see. Once it uploads, it comes in very large. I don't know why Cricut Design Space does that, but it just does that. And what you'll see is this little error message over here telling you that the image is too large. Ignore that. What you're going to do is you're going to click on the month. You're going to come over here to the size menu and click the little lock. Actually, you don't need to click the little lock, but in case you do. But you're going to, for the width, you're going to type 6 and you're going to hit tab, and the height should automatically go to 4, which it does. And that's the size of the calendar, 6 by 4. And if I scroll over, you'll see that all of the months are the same size. And then you're ready to make it. Now, what I like to do is I like to cut things in segments. So the first thing that I will do is I'm going to delete that month because I don't need it. That was an extra month. I'm going to turn off all of the months so that I can focus on my chipboard base. So for the purposes of my project, I'm just going to use Cricut craft board because it's pretty sturdy, and I think it'll work just fine. And this is a sampler. You get craft, black, and white in it. And then I'm going to browse all materials and I'm going to look for craft board. I think it was probably already saved, but I'm going to show you how you can search. If I can type search for different materials. Right, so here we go. Craft board. I had already saved it. That's what the little flag is. So if you use the same materials over and over again, you can always use click the little bookmark here, and then it'll always show up in your menu. So I had already saved it. So I click on that, and then it's telling me the tools that I need. So I'm going to need I don't want the double scoring tool. I want my single scoring wheel. You can also use the stylus for the Maker and Explore machines. This wheel here, the single scoring wheel, is only available for Maker machines. So I hit that, apply, and it's telling me to load that blade in first, and then I'll follow the on-screen prompts to cut this piece. Next thing I'm going to cut are the months. So I will turn all of those layers back on. I will go to make, and then I'll just go through and just make sure that all of the months look good. I tend to move things around. I don't want Cricut to cut up so close to the other item on my sheet, and I also want to make sure I use up as much of the sheet as I can. So I'm just going to move things around. As long as I stay within that red cuttable area, I'm good. The other thing I want to make sure that you do is to do a print then cut calibration. I have videos on how to do that, but you want to do that before you actually cut this, because the ink bleeds off the edge of the paper, the artwork bleeds off the edge of the paper. You definitely want to do the print then cut calibration. Otherwise you're going to have like a weird white border, or it just won't cut correctly. So make sure that you do the calibration, and I'll leave a link to how to do print then cut calibration in the description of this video. So after I've set up the pages the way I want, I hit continue, and then it's going to send to my printer. This is just a little message here that lets you know that they're going to have censor marks on your printout, and just follow the on-screen prompts. So I would pick my color printer. I always add a bleed. That just makes sure that the ink goes over the edge of the cut area. I always select use system dialog box because I want to be able to make adjustments to what tray the paper is going to come out of, the level of color saturation I want, etc. So then after it prints everything, it's going to come back here and you're going to load your paper as usual and then do the actual cut. We're going to decorate our months. So one of the things that I would like to do is I'm going to use this Versa Magic chalk ink, and I'm just going to lightly go around the edges of my month. You don't have to do this, I just think it makes it look, just makes the artwork pop a little bit more. This is just a simple desk calendar. And I kind of came up with the idea because I'm always looking at my planner for dates, and sometimes I don't feel like opening up the planner. I just want to look up at a glance and see what the day is, or just get a general idea of the month. And so that's why I said, well, why not make a desk calendar? So that's what we have. Now I've already gone ahead and done the other months, so I'll just flip through those so you can see. Here's January. Now the other thing about the calendar is that it basically features the flowers associated with that particular month. So I looked it up because I wanted to do a flower calendar, but I wasn't sure what flowers to pick. And when I looked it up, I was able to find out which calendars go with each month. Now I already know rose for June because I am a June baby, so I already knew that rose was the flower. But some of the other ones were kind of surprising to me, and I thought they were interesting. And I like the watercolor look, so I was trying to go for something soft when I design these. So hopefully you like them too. There's October. October's pretty as marigold, chrysanthemum, and of course holly for December. So now we have our base and we have our cover. And I'm going to go ahead and just fold lightly along the score lines and get them set up. And I want to line up the score lines on the base and the cover. Actually, this is the side I'm going to use. I'm going to use this glue, PVC glue, or PVA glue. And I'm leaving a margin so that when I put the cover paper on top, it won't ooze out on the sides. Try to line everything up as best as you can. So now we're ready to put our holes into our calendar, and what we're going to do is orient the calendar this way because it's going to be like a tent. So we need to put the cinch holes here because this is where the months are going to flip over. So we know that the width of this is 6 1/4, and I need to follow the guide here so that I can move this little guide to where we need to be so that we can punch correctly. So according to this, 1/4 inch needs to be put in the B hole. So I just lift out that little guide and move it to B. I slide my project in this way, and then I push down on the punch, and we get our first set of holes. Then I remove this guide and I can put it in this little holding place. And what I'm supposed to do is to slide it down and use this little peg piece and put it in the second hole from the last, like so. And then I punch my next set of holes, like so. Now I've already gone ahead and punched January. This is also the same size, 6 1/4. So these things should line up, and they do. So I will go ahead and punch the rest of the months following the same procedure, putting my guide back in B, sliding the project in. This one will be easier to punch because the paper isn't as thick. And then just lining up second hole from the last and punching again. And I get that. And everything should be lining up accordingly. And they are. So I'm going to go ahead and finish doing the months and then we'll come back. All right, I've finished punching all of the months and I've put them into the proper order. Next, I will take my flip calendar base and I've got my pieces here, and what I need to do is get my wire. So I have this piece of wire here and I need to line it up onto these little hooks. Now the instructions for punching the holes on the larger cinch are a little bit different, but this part where you're actually putting the binding on is pretty much the same. All right, so I'm going to flip this over and then I'm going to load the calendar onto. Now, the long end where you have the little flap, and this piece should be at the bottom of your stack. That's why I flipped it over. And then I just add, working backwards, then we gently lift everything out. So you should have something like this, and then you're going to squeeze these coils closed. And what you want to do is you want to butt up that end right into place, and you might have to tip your project in a little bit because you want to make sure that this little part covers up those coils. So you're going to press up against that and then press down. And then you just slide it over to do the remaining coils. You don't have to do that little double press, but sometimes I do. And then you have this excess here. So you're going to need to get your wire pliers and cut that. And you want to cut on that rectangular piece there. And I always save the extra piece because you might need it for something else. And we've got that little pokey thing there. So I just take the pliers and just curl that piece down so it doesn't poke out. And it should flip. So that's what it looks like from the top. Now this back piece, if you want it to, and I didn't make a little flap because the piece of paper, the long end was 11.5 inches. And so, you know, Cricut only goes up to, 11.5 inches cutting area. So, I wasn't able to make a little tab or anything, but if you wanted to, you could take some washi tape and glue these edges together, or you could just let it stand. If you're using a sturdy base like I am, it shouldn't be a problem in terms of having that, because you have this piece here that sort of acts as a foot. And then you just flip everything over. And that is your desk calendar. If you like this project, give me a thumbs up, a comment, or a thanks. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know your experience. If you have any questions about it, leave them in the comments below. As I said, it will be available on www.thescrapbookschool.com, and in the project instructions, I will leave a link to the Cricut template so that you can easily make this and make tons and give away to your friends or whatever you want to do with it. I will see you soon, and as always, happy scrapping and Happy New Year.